Hi Dogtails, I'm proud to enclose my story of my Old English Sheepdog, Fluffy. I have no video footage, but I'm hopeful that you can still tell my story and add some images of other dogs if at all possible. Well, this is how my story goes. It was a cold Saturday morning when I first met him. The air was crisp and the frost clung to the trees, creating a winter wonderland. I decided to go into my local animal rescue center just to browse and mainly to get out of the cold for a little while, not knowing that this decision would change my life forever. He was a fluffy ball of energy, darting around with a zest for life that was infectious. His playful antics immediately caught my attention and I couldn't help but smile. His big brown eyes sparkled with mischief and curiosity. It was as if he was inviting me into his world, a world full of joy and endless possibilities. I looked into his eyes and I knew instantly he was coming home with me, no doubt about it. When the day came to take him home, I was so excited I hardly slept the night before. We decided to name him Fluffy, a name that seemed to fit how he looked. The decision to adopt him felt like the most natural thing in the world. Fluffy, an Old English Sheepdog, was a breed apart. His distinct features and gentle nature made him stand out. He wasn't just any dog, he was special. Well, that's what I thought at the time. And as we got to know him, this turned out to be very true. His thick, cloud-like fur made him look like a walking teddy bear. People would often stop us on the street, enchanted by his appearance and eager to pet him. His tail wagged incessantly, a clear sign of his joyful spirit. It was as if his happiness was contagious, spreading to everyone he met. He was a bundle of energy, ready to explore the world with unbridled enthusiasm. Every day was a new adventure, and Fluffy approached each one with boundless excitement. From the moment Fluffy bounded into my life, everything changed. My once predictable routine was now filled with spontaneous moments of joy and laughter. The silence I hadn't realized had settled over my days vanished. In its place was a lively atmosphere, filled with the sounds of a happy, playful dog. In its place was a symphony of happy barks, playful yips, and the soft padding of paws on hardwood floors. The house felt more like a home, warm and inviting. Fluffy, with his boundless energy and affectionate nature, brought a vibrancy to my life that I hadn't known I was missing. He taught me to appreciate the little moments, to find joy in the everyday, and to love unconditionally. My Shaggy companion had truly transformed my world. As I soon found out, every day with Fluffy was an adventure. Our mornings started with a walk in the park. He loved chasing squirrels and greeting other dogs. His booming bark often startled unsuspecting joggers, but his tail wag and goofy grin quickly disarmed them. Afternoons were for playing fetch in the backyard. Fluffy wasn't very good at bringing the ball back. He preferred to prance around with it, showing off his prize. His antics never failed to make me laugh. Evenings were spent cuddled up on the sofa. Fluffy, with his head on my lap, would doze peacefully while I read a book. His presence was incredibly calming. The gentle rise and fall of his chest as he breathed was a soothing rhythm that melted away the stresses of the day. One sunny afternoon, we were enjoying our usual walk in the park. The sun was shining brightly, casting a warm glow over the lush green grass, and the park was bustling with people and their furry companions. Fluffy, being his usual mischievous self, spotted a group of pigeons. His eyes lit up with excitement, and I could almost see the gears turning in his head as he plotted his next move. Without warning, he lunged forward with all his might, pulling the leash right out of my hand. I barely had time to react as he bolted towards the unsuspecting birds. Chaos ensued as Fluffy, now a fluffy four-legged missile, took off after the startled birds. They scattered in all directions, flapping their wings frantically as they tried to escape his enthusiastic pursuit. I ran after him, my heart pounding, but he was much too quick. My legs felt like lead as I struggled to keep up, and I could hear the laughter of other parkgoers echoing around me. The park erupted in laughter as Fluffy, oblivious to the commotion he'd caused, continued his pigeon pursuit. People stopped to watch this spectacle, some even pulling out their phones to capture the hilarious scene. After a few minutes of giving chase, Fluffy finally stopped, panting heavily, his tongue lolling out. He looked up at me with a satisfied grin, as if to say, "Wasn't that fun?" I managed to catch up and secure his leash, much to the amusement of the onlookers. They clapped and cheered, and I couldn't help but laugh along with them, despite being out of breath. It was a moment I'll never forget, a testament to Fluffy's playful spirit and my complete inability to resist his charm. As we walked back home, I couldn't help but smile, knowing that life with Fluffy would always be full of unexpected adventures and endless laughter. If there was one thing Fluffy hated, it was bath time. The mere mention of the word bath would send him into a frenzy of avoidance tactics. As soon as he saw me gathering the towels and shampoo, he'd disappear. It was as if he had a sixth sense for bath days. Finding him was a challenge in itself. He had a knack for finding the most obscure hiding spots. He'd often squeeze himself behind furniture, making it nearly impossible to get to him. The actual bathing process was an adventure. Getting him into the tub was just the beginning. Fluffy would whine and try to escape the tub, his paws slipping on the wet surface, turning the entire bathroom into a slippery, soapy mess. Water and soap would be everywhere, making it a hazardous zone. Drying him was an even bigger task. His thick fur seemed to absorb water endlessly, making it a never-ending job. It felt like no matter how many towels we used, he was still damp. It was a two-person job, involving multiple towels and a hairdryer. We had to work in shifts to get him completely dry. Despite the chaos, there was something comical about Fluffy's bath time dramatics. His exaggerated misery and theatrical attempts to avoid the inevitable were hilarious. He'd look at me with those big, soulful eyes as if pleading for mercy. And of course, once he was clean and dry, he was back to his usual cuddly self, as if nothing had happened, smelling faintly of coconut shampoo. It was a small victory, but a rewarding one. The ordeal was worth it, seeing him so fresh and happy, ready for his next adventure. But don't let his fluffy exterior fool you. Fluffy was a protector at heart. One evening, while walking home, a stray dog approached us, growling menacingly. Fluffy, usually so playful, immediately stepped in front of me. He stood his ground, letting out a deep guttural bark I'd never heard before. The stray, taken aback by Fluffy's unexpected courage, backed down and slinked away. In that moment, I saw a different side of my beloved dog. He was my protector, my guardian, ready to defend me without hesitation. His bravery, hidden beneath his gentle demeanor, filled me with a profound sense of love and gratitude. Fluffy had a way of knowing when I was feeling down. He'd snuggle up close, resting his head on my lap and gazing up at me with those soulful brown eyes. His silent empathy, his unwavering affection, had an incredible power to heal. He didn't judge, he didn't offer advice, he just loved me unconditionally. His love was often expressed in the form of enthusiastic, slobbery kisses. They were messy and sometimes ill-timed, but always filled with pure affection. Those kisses had a way of making everything better, reminding me of the simple joys in life and the unwavering love of my furry companion. Training Fluffy was an adventure, to say the least. His stubborn streak and penchant for mischief often tested my patience. He'd pretend not to hear commands when distracted by squirrels or the enticing scent of freshly baked bread. But there were victories too. The first time he sat on command, the pride in his eyes was unmistakable. And when he finally mastered the art of walking calmly on a leash, at least most of the time, it felt like a major accomplishment. The journey of training Winston wasn't just about teaching him commands. It was about building a bond, a language of understanding between us. Old English Sheepdogs are a special breed. They are known for their intelligence, their playful nature, and their unwavering loyalty. They are gentle giants, happiest when surrounded by their families. Their love is pure and unconditional, a gift that enriches the lives of those lucky enough to share their world. Fluffy, with his funny grin, his boundless energy, and his heart full of love, embodied everything that makes this breed so special. He was a constant source of joy, laughter, and unwavering companionship. He taught me the true meaning of unconditional love and the importance of cherishing every moment. Life isn't always easy. There are ups and downs, moments of joy and times of sadness. Through it all, Fluffy was my constant companion. He was there to greet me with a wagging tail after a long day, to cuddle up beside me when I needed comfort, to remind me with his infectious enthusiasm that life is meant to be lived. His presence was a gift, a constant reminder of the simple joys in life. He taught me the importance of living in the moment and of appreciating the little things. As with all creatures great and small, our time together was finite. Saying goodbye to Fluffy was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. He left a void in my life, a silence that echoed with the memory of his happy barks and the soft padding of his paws. But his memory lives on, not just in the photographs and the worn-out toys, but in the way he changed me. He taught me about love, loyalty, and the importance of cherishing every moment. He will always be remembered for the incredible bond we shared. He was a true friend. I found out that Old English Sheepdogs are more than just pets. They are family, companions, furry therapists who bring joy, laughter, and unconditional love into our lives. They can teach us about patience, responsibility, and the importance of living in the moment. If you're considering welcoming an Old English Sheepdog into your home, be prepared for a life filled with fur, fun, and endless love. They are a breed apart. Trust me, I know.